Yo, Internet, welcome to another episode of the Jongravesshow. Back at it again with the gaming news. Sorry it took me a few days to kind of get back into this, but let's jump right back into a few gaming news articles that I ran into. So let's talk about that. Starting this thing off, we have Nintendo, who is now restricting live streaming for for YouTubers who have the Nintendo's partner program. Now jumping into the article, it basically clearly paints everything out, man, for you, which is that all the people who did the partnering program for their YouTube channels, well, now the live streaming with that, like, Nintendo will not allow it if you either do it for monetization or if you don't. Like, you just can't do it because they won't allow it. And jumping into their policy here, it reads, live streaming on YouTube falls outside the scope of the Nintendo Creators Program. You cannot broadcast content on YouTube live from the account you have registered the Nintendo's Creator Program. If you plan to broadcast content on YouTube Live, you have a couple of options. First, you can broadcast content on YouTube Live from a channel that is not registered in our program, or you can cancel your channel's registration to the Nintendo Creators Program and instead register your videos containing the Nintendo's IP to the program separately. Videos which had previously been registered through your channel would need to be re-registered individually. So what does this necessarily mean? It means that if you are planning on live streaming, not necessarily through Twitch, not necessarily through Ustream, but if you specifically want to stream like Zelda Breath of the Wild, if you want to play if you want to stream that on your Nintendo channel, well, you can't do it now because they will outright just take your videos down. And if you really want this to happen and you making all of your money or whatever, like through the Nintendo service, well, now if you cancel your subscription with them, you gotta go back through and re-register all of those videos all over again, and who knows how long that's gonna take. It's difficult to say, but at this point, the most that we can say is that Nintendo, you have officially become this year's super shit ass. So good luck with that. I need to make an award for that. But let's jump on to our next article. Getting into the second article, which is Avatar sequel. Well, it's getting some brand new cast members, and also the fact that Avatar 2 is planning on hitting theaters. I believe he said December 18th, 2020. Stephen Lang's gonna reprise his role as Colonel Quidditch, and of course they have a very specific date for this movie. Also, on top of that, they're adding a whole bunch of brand new cast members. The most that I know about this from reading the article is that they are family members to other characters in the story, and one of them will be in the rainforest, or they like to go out into the rainforest. But that's about it for what the fuck is going on with that. So hopefully we get to see the next Avatar movie that shook the world with its Dances with Wolves storyline. Which does bring me over to the Walking Dead cast and the creators explain what it means to reach 100 episodes. Now I'm not gonna fully read this whole thing out, but I caught some of it, and mostly the whole article is just about everybody's really happy and they're really excited about them actually reaching 100 episodes and them hitting the milestone. They even talked to Norman Reedus about this, and of course he goes on to say that it's not just a show anymore, it's part of his life or whatever. And how that Lenny James went on to say that when he did the first episode, we had no idea that what the show was going to be. and it's sort of a far cry as to how, like, when the first season, like, at least how the first season was made, how amazing that was, leading over to the second season and so on. Just sort of watching how these characters sort of go from we need to make it like in the apocalypse to now some of our people are becoming corrupted and everything. So it's pretty nice to sort of see how this thing sort of played out. Like, of course, them hitting all these episodes, like, it's amazing or whatever, and of course the fan base, they do keep it alive. But there is one thing that I do really have to really say though, and it is, looking back on this show, like, if you really just look back at it, realistically, a lot of the games and some of the older people and some of the original directing, they really did make this show what it is today. Now, I'm not even talking about like its source material, because the source material, like, it is amazing, but just sort of watching how they took, like, this original story, or how they sort of, or at least how the creator of the graphic novel, how he took his work, and instead of just adapting it to do the same thing, he sort of tweaked it a bit to sort of work better with the mainstream, which is what I do like. So, jumping back into this, we have Tim Miller and James Cameron as they're talking about the reboot of the Terminator series, which really, when I think about it, it's like, it might actually be a good thing, but it is supposed to come out for theaters July 26, 2019. That is a very specific date. Again, like, they're getting really, really good at that. But basically, James Cameron just he went on to talk about what he was planning for it, and cutting down, like, what he was talking about in the article is that he says that he has a role for Arnold Schwarzenegger, where basically his character is supposed to be the skin graft, like, is inspiration for why the T-800s, why they all look like him, and he's gonna use, like, an older guy, or at least, like, he's gonna use Arnold Schwarzenegger's age, like, to its advantage, and actually sort of show him, like, as a broken down old man. Which, when I think about it, like, in Genesis, they also did have a very older, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a very older looking T-800 until the end of the movie, until he became like a T-800. So that's nice. They're also talking about bringing back Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton. She will be coming back playing an older Sarah Connor, which, when I think about it, like, didn't her character die, like, in the third film from what was it? From lung cancer? And also, when I do think about, like, the Terminator Genesis film, it kind of did the one thing which that you probably shouldn't do in a Terminator film, which is you break the convention of time. Whereas that, like, the timeline was one straight timeline, and the movie technically ended, like, at the end of Salvation, but, like, they just kind of had to keep it going, and then they just made, like, this parallel world or whatever. But hopefully this one, it is good, and I do wonder who's gonna play John Connor. Are they gonna get, I forget old guy's name, but the guy who played John Connor in the second film. Actually, no, wait. Sorry, I had to look it up real quick. His name is Edward Furlong. Hopefully he comes back, because the weird thing is, though, is that, like, I do find it funny how that how that they kept Sarah Connor looking the same, like, in every film, and every T-800 looking the same, but for some reason, like, Edward, like, it says, like, they couldn't get Edward Furlong to play John Connor for like all the rest of the other movies, or every movie we have a different John Connor. Like, that shit is weird, but that's just me. In tragic news, though, we have Gravity Rush 2 online services are closing a year after the game's release. What does this necessarily mean? Well, just as the title basically goes on to say that on January 18th of 2018, posted on the Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan and Asia blog, they went on to state that Gravity Rush 2's online features will be shut down. Now, again, you can still play their offline modes, but basically, I don't think that you'll be able to collect dust tokens anymore. Well, I don't own the game, so I don't know. But the most likely, though, is that you can get a whole bunch of them now. So if you want to go out and collect dust tokens, that's like that they're doubling, or like that they are increasing the drop rate. So basically, you can get a lot of those, so that you can get costumes and special talismans, which I believe that's the only way to get them. And in the process of that, what is also going offline, which will be sending and receiving challenges, rank leaderboard, sending and receiving treasure hints, receiving, sending and receiving and reviewing photo ghosts, and also acquiring Destiny tokens and their rewards. So if you want to get those now, you better hurry up and do that. I mean, it's kind of sad though, especially since that like Gravity Rush just kind of went through this whole thing, especially with the first game sort of being looked down on because it was on the Vita, and then when it came over to PlayStation, like a few people bought it, but then once 2 came out, it's like 1 year? Seriously? I mean, like the game is still functional, but I'm like you just giving up on the service already? Shit, that's fucking heavy. But that is what I have to say about all of those news articles. Please tell me what do you think about those down there in the comment section. I will catch you on the next Jongravesshow. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games, and I'll have more news for you next time. I'm out.